What you got,
I
man?
think we can fulfill that promise today. So,
Okay.
um, so see, where do we start here? Yeah, so this was these are not arbitrary numbers that I'm getting ready to show you. I'm not a big fan of the PowerPoint thing, but when we're dealing with numbers, it makes it a lot more clear. So for those of you that might be listening on the podcast, this might be a good episode to go watch on the YouTube channel because the numbers, I don't know, when I'm seeing numbers, if somebody says more than three numbers, I start to get lost a little bit. But there's no other way to show this. Just FYI, my background before I got in the lending industry is chemistry and mathematics. I have a master's in chemistry. Oddly enough, you see how far that got me. But I'm just a big fan of like mathematics and statistics and probabilities. My favorite. My favorite class of all time, without question, was statistics and probabilities. And just frankly, and I say this very humbly and gratefully, it's knowing the numbers and knowing statistics and playing the numbers has what has done well for me and in my business. Put us where we at, one of the largest branches in units in the nation, strictly because we play on the numbers for the most part, right? For the most part, and so that's what we're going to talk about today is the numbers. And also, just one more preface. Uh, I met Jimmy about 3 years ago, maybe four now, but somewhere around there, 3, 4 years. And it's very interesting that Jimmy and I knew of each other probably for the last, I don't know, 15 or 20 years, I guess, something like that. Probably 15 years. We knew of each other, but we had never spoken prior to that time. And when we first started working together about 3, 4 years ago, we were just blown away on how Jimmy's a tracking fiend like I am. And we were blown away on how independently, not working together, not having the same instructors, not working for the same company as we don't today either, but just like independently, how our numbers just sank right into each other. It was just independently we came to the same conclusions. And when we compared our numbers to each other on, hey, how many of this do I have to get per loan that comes out? The numbers were so freakishly similar. It was it just blew it continues to blow our mind and how we can finish each other's sentences about what works. And so let me go into the PowerPoint here just real quick. Part of this, some of you might have seen before. The other part, uh, you likely have not. So here's the screen. And Frank, I'm going to has to takes over your music, just FYI.
I'll get over it. It's okay.
So, all right. So, so what we're going to do here, slideshow, play from current slide, is this thing that I call the power of one. And so I'm going to run through this first part very, very quickly. What we found in our studies is that when we have one meeting per day, one, not two, not 10, not 20, one, Monday through Thursday. Like you hear him Bill say, "Hey, obviously saying it tongue in cheek. I stumbled to the builder. That was one, right? So one meeting per day, Monday through Thursday, right? That's it. That would come to 16 meetings per month. Well, let's say that you have a 30% no show. That would still be, and by the way, 30% is probably a little bit on the pessimistic side. We don't find it runs quite that rough, but just using this as it's going to be likely no worse than that. So one meeting per day scheduled Monday through Thursday would be 16 meetings per month. And if you had 30% no show, which again would be a low number, it's usually, or that'd be a high no show rate. That would still be 11 kept appointments per month. 11 kept appointments. And by the way, let me clarify this would be qualified people that can refer to you. So when I say one meeting per day, it's and typically speaking, it's going to be a real estate agent. Again, we use the word qualified. They had 8 buy sides in the last 12 months. So using that. So if I meet with the cashier, at the Piggly Wiggly, that doesn't count, right? So 11 kept appointments per month. All right. So 11 meetings per month would be 132 meetings per year, right? Sounds like a lot, but it's just one per day, Monday through Thursday. And again, only 70% showed up. A full, almost a third of them didn't show up. That's still 132 meetings per year. Let's say you take a month off, right? So for me, I kind of check out the month of December. I've earned the right to do that. It's not a recommendation, but I've earned the right to do it. And so I pretty much take the month of December off, which, by the way, tends to be some of our bigger months in the in the mortgage business. Like in my branch, December historically has been a very, very, very good month. But I kind of check out that month, frankly. So 121 kept appointments. And let's say, and this is a number that Jimmy and I came to independently and is 100% accurate for us. And none of this, by the way, is an income claim for you, but I'm just showing you this is with us and the thousands of loan officers that we worked with, that we find that we get about a 16% conversion rate, that these 121 people that we met, one at a time, one per day, Monday, Thursday, 30% no show, taking the month of December off, leaves us with 121. We get a conversion rate of about 16% end up referring to us. And because they're qualified agents, they have at least one referral per week. And what I'm talking about here is, they did an open house, that would be 8 of them, right? They have sign writer calls. Typically, they'll get about 6 to 12 sign writer calls a week. Past clients calling them up. They get several of those per week. So on a qualified agent, getting one referral per week is actually a very low number. Those of us that get less than that is because you're working with typically an unqualified agent, or you have the agent doing too much screening, thinking they're helping you, but they're actually hurting you. You want it so that every time they get a lead, every time they do an open house, they just take a picture of that and send it over to you. But let's say they don't do that and they only send you one referral per week, right? So 121 at a conversion rate of 16% of them starting to refer over to you. That means that 80, what is that? 84% don't refer to you, right? So you met with them, they go, hey, sure, I'll send you over. 84% don't. 16% do. So most people would think 84%, gosh, that's a colossal failure, Carl, because by far most didn't. And that is true. But watch what happens to the number 16%. So 16% do. And if I have 16% of 121, that's 19 referring agents. Again, these have to qualify for, be qualified. And we call it our focus 40, that when you have 40 agents referring to you, like, usually that equates to about 18 or so closings per month. But anyway, back to this. So 121, 16%, that ends me up with 19 referring agents. 19 referring agents sending me one referral. So not everybody sent over their open house that they did. Not everybody held an open house. Not everybody calls us with all their leads. They're only sending us one a week, which is a very low number. So if we have 19 referral partners sending us one per week, that's 76 referrals per month, right? And by the again, this is based on measured history. 76 referrals per month at an 18% conversion rate. In other words, when they send us a referral, 18% of the time we go to closing, right? Which again, that means that 82% didn't close, or at least not for the first 90 days. So this is for the first 90 days. So at the first 90 days, 18% of those convert to a closing. Right. So that would be, and by the way, we often see people ranging like 21%, 22, 25, 13, 14, 18 is a very, according to our results, 18 is a very safe number. So if we have 76 referrals, 18%, that's 15 closings per month. And again, this all started with one scheduled meeting per day, Monday through Thursday. Now, again, I'm going to take a little bit of a step of faith here. If we have 15 closings per month, all based on one meeting per day, not two, not 10, but one. And hypothetically, we make $3,000 per closing, some more, some less. That would be $45,000 a month, right? $45,000 a month times 12. That would be $540,000 in addition to what you're currently making. So that would go on top of what you're currently making. However, let's say hypothetically we suck. Like just hypothetically, we just suck. And let's say we didn't do one meeting, we did one every other. Let's say we didn't take 1 month off, we took six off. Let's say we didn't convert them at 16%, we converted at 8, which I've never heard of anybody converting that low. But let's say that did happen to you and hypothetically suck. If we divide that number by two, it's still $270,000 in addition to what you're making now. Well, let's say, Carl, I don't just suck a little. Hypothetically, I suck a lot. And we divide that in half. We didn't do we didn't do one meeting per day. We did one every fourth day. We didn't take 6 months off. We took 9 months off. We didn't convert them at 8%. We converted them at 4%, which I don't know how you would do that. If you divide that number in half, it's still $135,000 on top of what you're currently making now. So you go, all right, Carl, wait a minute. You're talking about this one meeting per day. How do we make that happen? So if one meeting per day, Monday through Thursday, scheduled, not kept. Remember, we had a 30% no-show rate. In this example of 135, I don't know, we had a 70% no-show rate. It's still in the neighborhood. I haven't done that math, but if we're doing half and then half again, a 70% no-show rate would still equate to $135,000. So if one meeting per day, Monday to Thursday, between equals, that results in, I don't know, somewhere between, if you're on your game like Bill is, perhaps 540 extra $1,000. If you suck and don't just suck a little, suck a lot, using these numbers, $135,000 per year, depending upon how much we suck, of course. Then how do we get one meeting per day on the schedule? Right? That's the question. How do we get one meeting per day on the schedule? So the $540,000 to $135,000 extra per year question is, can you make 15 qualified agent calls in an 8-hour workday? So on Monday through Thursday, on an 8-hour workday, can you make, not speak to, not talk to, dials? Can you, for $540,000 or $135,000, again, not an income claim, just showing the math here, to make that, can you make 15 outbound phone calls in an 8-hour workday? Here's the math behind that. So 15 qualified agent calls per day, and you're calling six, so there's 16 calling days, right? It's Monday through Thursday, 4 weeks, so that's 4 days out of the week. Friday, I don't do outbound calls, just me personally, right? So I do it Monday through Thursday. So Friday's a day I'm working on my CRM. I'm getting with the team Chris over there and figuring out how to get my CRM and my power dollar and all that cool stuff set up. That's what I do on Fridays, right? So on Monday through Thursday, I'm calling. So that would be 16 calling days per month, right? I get it. There's vacations and holidays, but you get the idea. So if I'm calling 15 outbound dials per day in an 8-hour period, so that's like an hour. If I can just chisel out 2 dials per hour, that would be 240 calls per month. Here's the math: 240 calls per hour or per month. Let's say I get a 30% answer rate. Sometimes more, sometimes less, but you get it. That's kind of a typical number. I know sometimes like it feels like, gee, I did nothing but hit voicemails today. If you actually track it, real estate agents run about 30%. Consumer direct, like calling our past database, a little bit less than that, somewhere between 18, 23%. So it feels like we're hitting nothing but voicemails, but come to find out, it's 70% voicemails and it's 30% answer rate has been our experience. So if I'm calling 240 outbound calls, that's 72 live conversations a month, or roughly, give or take, a little better than two a day. So I'm talking to roughly two people a day, not 15, not 155, about two, and whatever the math of that equals, 2.2, something like that. All right. So if I'm having 72 conversations, and let's say only 22% agree to meet me on Zoom or in person. So anyway, I call somebody, and let's say it's one for Mr. Bill. He's one of the agents I call. I get 22% of the agents that we're calling to say, "Hey, Bill, man, I'd love to hear more about your story," or "Hey, Bill, let me show you a way how I can help you get more listings," or whatever script you want to use, and we can help you with that. Like we got the scripts, right? Whatever way you want to do, we got the scripts. We can give them to you. And let's say I'm not great at it, and I'm only getting 22% to say, "Sure, Carl, I'll give you 5 minutes." That would be 16 scheduled appointments. Here's the math on that: 16 scheduled meetings per month equals one scheduled meeting per day, Monday to Thursday. Remember, this all started with how do I get one scheduled meeting? That's it, right? If we do the backwards math again, it's calling 15 per day, and 15 per day at a 30% answer rate gives us 72 per month. 72 month and 22% agree to it. That equals 16 scheduled appointments. 16 scheduled meetings per month equals one scheduled meeting per day. And again, remember, one meeting per day, Monday to Thursday, 16 meetings per month, 30% no show, 11 kept appointments, 11 kept appointments, 32 meetings per year. You take a month off, 121 kept for the year, 121 kept appointments at a 16%. They start sending me business rate, right? They start sending me business equals 76 referrals per month, 76 referrals per month at an 18% conversion rate equals 15 closings per month. Again, just using hypothetical math, that's pretty accurate. 15 closing per month at $3,000 per closing equals 45,000 per month. 45,000 per month equals 540,000 additional per year. Again, hypothetically, we suck. 270, we suck a lot. 135. So to get one agent meeting per day, make 15 calls per day to qualified agents. And that's the end math here. You go, Carl, wait a minute. That all sounds way too easy. That sounds way too easy. And again, this was actual math, not guaranteeing that you're going to get the same, but this is what we see with thousands. By the way, um, I'll come to that in a minute. Well, there is a catch. There is a catch. There's a catch. So to get one agent meeting per day, you make 15 calls per day to qualified agents. That's the catch, right? But there's a problem. See, the problem is we have to get one agent to do a meeting per day. We have to make 15 calls per day to qualified agents, right? That's the problem. Like that's the hurdle that we have to overcome. The solution is accountability. That's it. This is such simple math, right? And these are not like imagine this and imagine that. That's the numbers we see. I'm not saying it's the numbers you're going to see. I'm saying it's the numbers that we see, and we've tracked thousands. And the thing that holds everybody that's held back, everybody that doesn't do it, let's call it the non-Bills of the world, right? The non Carols of the world, the non-Sharons of the world. The thing that holds other people back is accountability. It's just that simple. And if you just make the 15 calls, um, that's the results that we see, right? That's the results that I have seen. And the problem is, I'll make my calls day one, and then you know what? Day one doesn't feel good. Day one, I go, gosh, Kristen, I felt salesy today. Gee, Sam, I don't know. I don't think they liked me. Gee, Sue, I don't know. I had somebody hung up on me, and then we stop. And then when we stop, we end up right back where everybody else is, and that's not where you want to be at. Jim and I are starting another group, accountability group. And what we call it is accountability with a hug. Jim actually came up with that name. I like that a lot. He calls it accountability hug. I call it accountability with respect. All we got to do is help you make 15 phone calls a day. And what we do is we keep track. We send in a report every Friday. And then every other Tuesday, we meet collectively as a group and we go over our challenges. We find out what was our roadblock, what kept us from it. We report our victories. How did it work? I end up getting this. But On Fridays, when we send the report in, we don't send in our results, only our activity. You got to understand this. It's the activity that gets the results. If I do it for 2 days and don't get results and I fall off the map, that's from a lack of accountability. Right? So it's the activity that we track, and then every other week, that's when we track our results. You don't track your results at the end of the day. You don't even track your results at the end of the week. You only track your activity at the end of the week. And you just keep doing the activity. Here, I'll give you a number. I'll give you two numbers. These would be two numbers interesting to write down. Using this format, Jim and I collectively together have helped over 807 loan officers, 807 loan officers become what Jim calls cash millionaires. 807 loan officers become millionaires. And I don't mean equity in their home. We're talking like we call it cash millionaires, which means you've been put it in your 401k, you've been saving it, you've been like maybe you invested in something. 807, they've either became cash millionaires or, and many of those have done this, have made over $1 million in a 12-month period as a W-2 income from writing loans, not from selling a house, but from writing loans. Here's another number. 87%, 87% that followed this simple accountability plan in the last 18 months, 87% doubled their income. Was it everybody? Nope, it wasn't everybody. 87%. Now, the other 13%, many of them, like if they only increase their, I say only, if they only increase their income by 90%, they didn't qualify for the 87%, right? If they only did half again as much, like they were making 200, now they're making 300, or they were making 100, now they're making 150, that doesn't count. 87% doubled their income. And it's just a simple making 15 outbound calls a day, reporting it on Fridays. If you run in the roadblocks, we talk about that every other Tuesday. And then, oh, by the way, Jim and I give out our personal cell phone numbers. You're having a bad day or something like, call us, right? We want to help you out. So that's what we're doing. We're starting another group. Kristen and Justine are helping us get this set up. If you want to just hear more about it, I see we're 1 minute past the hour. Uh, just put in the chat now, NOW, because now is our power. Now is our word of the day. Like, when does this stuff start? It starts now, right? That's the magic of this, and it's not a hard thing. It's 15 calls a day. Now, there's other things we do, and you need help. Hey, Carl, I need help. What to say? We're going to help you with that. Hey, Carl, who do I call? We're going to help you with that. What does a follow up look like? We're going to help you with that. How do I make these 15 calls because I feel like I'm overwhelmed? That's what we specialize in, right? That's what we do. That's how we helped over 807 loan officers become that, right? And did we do this by ourselves? Of course not. I had Kristen helping us, Justine helping us. We have a team over here. Frank's been a big part of it. Chris Johnstone has been an integral part of everything that we're building over here. A lot of the technology, most of the technology, Chris has helped us out with. So anyway, that's what we're doing today. I just don't want you to understand the power of one is such a very, very, very big, powerful thing. And I think sometimes, Frank, we get overwhelmed by thinking, I got to do this and I got to do that and I got to do this and I got that. Nope. We just have to chisel out 15 outbound calls a day and the numbers speak to themselves. And would love for you to be a part of this. So if you want to see what Jim and I are doing collectively together on an accountability group. By the way, there's no yelling, there's no shaming. I think those are horrible tools. I think they can be somewhat effective, but I think they cause more damage than they help. Just my own personal belief system. But we're really, really, really good at helping people get done. Frankly, what you already know you need to be doing, we're really, really, really good at helping you get that done. So that's it. That's it
When's
for
that
that.
group going to start, Carl? When do you think you're going to start the new?
I don't think we're going to start it. I know we're going to start it. We're starting this coming Tuesday, so a week from yesterday, because Frank,
Okay.
we have to start now, right? We got to start now. Now's our word
Yeah.
of the day.
Yeah.
So now, so
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, make sure to get now in the chat if you want to get on board and learn more about it and see how you can get started. Good stuff, Carl. Thank you so much, man. The numbers, I love the numbers. They just don't
dude,
lie.
the numbers like, and by the way, I'm not going to send out the slides. This is the thing. We're only going to focus today. We're only going to focus on those people that's either A, already a part of it, or B, those people at least interested in going forward.
Mm.
And so you're not committing by saying now. You're just, I don't know, maybe I ought to say, maybe I shouldn't have said that. right? Maybe it may, but anyway, that phone call, we're just going to, we'll tell you more about it and see if it's a match for you.
Mm.
See if you'd like to be a part of this 87%. And yeah,
Yeah, man.
that's it.
Awesome. Awesome
So
stuff.
that's it. Hey, thanks for letting me. I know going over numbers isn't the easiest thing, but when you look at the numbers, the simplicity of it, this is not a hard program. There's not a lot of steps, and frankly, there's not a lot you got to do. You just have to chisel out like two outbound calls an hour. That's it.
Yeah.
That's really
Right.
all there is to it. And you go, hey, but when I'm closing these 15 loans, I'm going to need we're going to help you with that. But first, we have to do the first part first. And the first part first is averaging 15 outbound calls a day.